Welcome to March, the month where gardeners start to get excited because things are beginning to seriously pick up. Now, while it's a little bit early for some stuff still, the list is getting a little bit longer and shorter in some respects because there are some seeds where you're just too late for now. But today's video, we're just going to do rapid fire like we always do for these seeds to start for the month. And this, again, is for anyone, anywhere it applies. Because at the end of the day, your zone does not matter. What matters is your last frost date. And even less than that is that if you're within 2 to 3 weeks of what your actual start date should be, you're good. And to be honest, if you start later, studies show that's actually beneficial. Actually, there's one that I just read on tomatoes here while I was working on a different video. 4 leaves max when you go to transplant outdoors. That is it. That is the best number of leaves to transplant outdoors with. How many of you, hands up in the geek crew, have planted plants that are 5, 6, 7 leaves? Me, I have. Absolutely. There's your reason not to. It actually is quite a significant difference between what does well and what doesn't. So don't jump the gun. That's the rule. Be lazy. We love a hobby that allows us to procrastinate. Okay, let's do vegetables. Should we do vegetables? Let's do flowers first. Where's my list? So one thing you're going to figure out real fast is March is flower month. Hands down flower month. Not quite vegetable month. Flower month, absolutely. So for flowers, we have alyssum. So first off, if we're talking flowers, I just want to say this right now. If you are wanting to do perennials, I did advocate for starting them a little bit earlier if you wanted to mimic the second season, which is essentially growing them, sending them kind of into like a pseudo dormancy, waking them back up out of it in hopes of triggering a flowering cycle so that you don't have to wait till the second year. That you're too late for. So if you start your perennials now, you will just end up having to transplant a larger plant, which can result in transplant shock, which can result in a poor quality plant. So I personally would hold off on a number of different, I personally would hold off on a significant number of the perennials at this point, but there's lots of annuals on the list. So we have alyssum, we have cosmos, we have delphinium, we have echinacea. We could do hollyhocks. I guess that is technically a perennial. Those ones you could probably get away with just fine. There's Linneum, marigolds, and this includes the giants, the French, like the Africans and the French versions. We have Rudbeckiae and snapdragons. These ones, I have them on the list because I have started them in March before, but I do have it in my notes that they didn't quite make it to the end. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to flowers, if you want flowers earlier in the season, then plant these earlier because then you're going to have flowers earlier in the season. That may mean that you have to have a second wave. When we talk about waves, it's just starting new plants, several weeks or a month or 2 months after you started the initial batch so you can replace those ones because there is a potential that they will stop flowering and they're done. So if you want earlier flowers, a lot of these you can start now, but you may need to consider a second run, if you will. So these ones where you'd have to have a second would be snapdragons, stalks, straw flowers, veronicas, petunia, if you intend to allow them to really grow rapidly and you don't trim them back a lot. If you're okay with trimming them back, you can start them now, but you'll have to expect there's going to be a period of time where it's going to look like a plant again, less like a flowering bush. If you don't do like the wave petunias, like the brand name ones. And then pansies. So I did start my pansies already, like literally I started them today. You're not behind. Don't worry. That's another one where just keep up with the deadheading and you should be okay unless you have like a stupid hot summer and then sayonara to everything. But regardless, those are the flowers to start early that you may need to consider doing waves with. The next ones, so some sunflowers will require to be started now. Do I have my sunflowers in front of me? No. There are some designer sunflowers out there that you need to consider starting now in March. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Obviously, there's many that you could actually just sow direct outdoors. Use your discretion. Read your packages. Sweet peas, I never grow sweet peas. My friend Jessica from Acopia does though. Violas, Veronica, yarrow is another one. That's pretty much it for flowers. I don't really do anything outside of those ones, to be perfectly honest. Okay, so let's do herbs next. So next week for herbs, we have bergamot. We also could do basil. Again, if we want to top it a lot and harvest from it and utilize the basil, go for the basil now. Great idea. Catnip, don't include that one. Lavender. Okay, so lavender and rosemary. These are the two. This is final call. Final call. And it's final call within the next 2 weeks. Dead serious. You don't want to be doing these end of March. Within the first 2 weeks of March is ideal. Lemon balm, lovage. This is like the celery flavored stuff. You could start it now. You can also wait. Oregano. You could start it now. You could also wait. Depending, if you're going to use it, then start it. If you're not going to use it, don't start it because you'll regret that. Sage is another one. Start right now, even if you're not going to use it, because the oregano and the thyme, they take time to actually germinate. And here's the thing. I use oregano and thyme in hanging baskets and decorative pots. No one knows the difference. No one knows the difference. If you allow them grow for a while, they're like a beautiful cascading foliage, right? So cheaper than buying green foliage. Fantastic. Okay, let's do vegetables next. Okay, so for veggies, this is last call. Absolutely last call for artichokes and asparagus. Those two are done after this month. The asparagus, you just won't have enough biomass to really ensure it makes it through the winter. And artichoke, there's just a likelihood that it's not going to flower. They're big plants. They're big plants. Anyone in the geek crew could tell you they get freaking huge. So yeah. The next ones is cauliflowers. Now, particularly read the packaging, because I find that the colored ones, like the purples and the yellows, those ones need more time. And those are the ones I'm referencing, not the ones that have a very similar growing period to say like a broccoli. So that one, yeah, time to get her going. The Brussels sprouts. So I have Brussels sprouts in here because Brussels sprouts, when I've grown them in the past, do best started now. I will say you're going to have to transplant a pretty big plant. That is what that is. Do it if you like. I think I have a whole write-up on that up on my website. I don't really post on my website anymore. Sorry. Celery or celeriac. I saw that actually. It was at Floral Acres and I was like, is that just the bottom of a celery plant? What do you use that for? Please let me know. I have no idea. Never grown it. Never seen it until I saw it literally in front of my face. Celery is the one that you can start now. Eggplant is next. I'd go closer to the end of May with that one if I was you, but totally up to you. You could start now if you wanted. Kohlrabi, yeah, I would, I grew big kohlrabi 2 years ago and I started them now. You could start them next month too, though. There's no rush on those guys. Leave the last call for that life choice right there. Onions. So I do it I'm doing a mix. I'm doing a mix of mine combined with what I've seen online for recommendations. And onions are recommended to still start. To be honest, you're not going to get as nice of onions as if you would have started these in like January, February. That's the truth of the matter. If there are onions with like a lower number of days, like a very small onion, sure, go for it. It'd probably be okay, but personally, I think you're too late for them. That's my opinion, though. That's not based in any fact whatsoever. Peppers, this is definitely last call for hots. You want to start with a heat mat. You still could technically do a little bit into April. It is absolutely last call for any peppers, hot or not. It's not like, anyways, the last call for those guys if you want to top. If you're choosing to top your peppers, this is it. You can't go past that if you're in Canada anyways, because it's not going to end well for you. I personally don't top, so I wait. I started some are started, my hot peppers, and a couple sweets as well, but that is for experiments only, for videos. That's the reason why I started them early. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing for you guys. Just listen to what I say. Don't do as I do, if that makes sense. I'm going to say this because I think it's very important. It is said, do not, I repeat, do not start your tomatoes. Please, please do not start them. Do not start them. Do not start them. They are tempting to start, but do not start them. Seriously, do not do it. I will tell you when. It is not time. It is not time in the month of March. You will transplant much stronger plants. You will make much stronger plants if you hold off. I promise you this. I promise you I would never lie to you. Yeah, that's it. When you plant some of these, if there are any with larger seeds, which there's not going to be many in that list with larger seeds, if any at all. No, I don't think there is. So I'm going to save that actual little scientific tidbit till next time because I can. Actually, no, peppers. I'm going to tell you it because the peppers need it. So when you look at your pepper seed, you're going to see a ridge. It's going to look like a little nip, if you will. This little nip is where the embryo hangs out, and that is where the embryo busts a move. If you've ever had peppers where the seed coating is still attached to then you've planted them upside down, basically. So you want to put that little nip facing upwards because that's the embryo. The seed will break out of that and then it'll go up without having the shell attached to it. I'm not sure when I launch this video, I'm not sure if it's going to be before or after I launch the video where I actually discuss the studies and the science behind that. But because I'm nice and you guys are planting peppers right now, keep that tidbit in mind because it could actually increase your germination success as well as the seedling vigor, which is always a good thing. So anyways, I will talk to you guys next time. If you want to know the myths of gardening that are absolute lies, this is your video. That's what Google says to watch. See you guys later.